Hello all and welcome to episode 3 of the FanTeam podcast by Fantasy Football Hub. My name is Andrew and I'm again joined by FPL legend Wes Prickett, otherwise known as FPL Heisenberg, who has a superb FPL record with 6 successive finishes in the top 35k. Wes, we are nearly there. Are you excited for the new season?
Absolutely, mate. Bring it on.
Indeed. A crazy week with, England players up to all sorts, potential injuries. Transfers been absolutely crazy, but yeah, we're almost there. So in our first bumper episode, we gave an introduction to FanTeam, the rules, the scoring system, how it slightly differs from FPL. We took a look at the life-changing prizes on offer before running through the player prices and sharing our very first draft teams as we join the hunt for that life-changing €200,000 first prize. It's well worth a look if you haven't watched it already and haven't played FanTeam before. We then shared our first draft a couple of weeks ago, which may have changed a little bit with all the drama that has unfolded since. We should mention the game is now live, so if you want to take a look at the rules and prices for yourself and pick a team, click on the top link in the description below. So to clarify, there is a buy-in involved for FanTeam. It's over 18s only and begambleaware.org. In the links we provide, there's a 150% deposit bonus. So if you decide to play FanTeam for €25, you would receive around €30 to use on their sportsbook. Terms and conditions apply. If you are new to Fantasy Football Hub, please remember to click the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen and to press the like button if you enjoy our content. And don't forget to download our new free app, which includes everything our website offers. Just search for Fantasy Football Hub from wherever you get your apps. So just a quick reminder of the incredible prizes on offer with that life-changing €200,000 first prize. Wes, what would you spend €200,000 on, do you think?
Well, that's a good question. I'd probably clear my mortgage, go on a holiday, probably wouldn't tell my missus about how much it was and then keep some back for myself.
Absolutely. It's absolutely crazy amount of money. So first place is €200,000, second is 100,000, third 60,000, fourth 40,000, fifth 25,000, and it goes all the way down to 5,659th place. And since it's capped at 75,000 entries, it means that 1 in 13 teams will get paid. A quite incredible offer there. Okay, so moving on to then our team. So we have your team up. So Wes, we have your team up on screen for our YouTube watchers. Could you firstly share the 15 for our podcast listeners, then give us your thoughts on your team?
Yes, I'll run through it for the listeners. So I've got Guirassy in goal for Crystal Palace, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Doherty and Saliba starting in defence. In the midfield, I've got Dele Alli, Salah, Souček and Kilch from Leeds. And, Klitsch. I'm not very good at pronunciation of names. Ings, Aubameyang and Werner up top. And then on the bench, I've got Hennessy to go along with Guirassy. And then I've got Egan, Vinagre and Stevens.
Cool. So you've gone quite strong at the back there. Do you think Saliba will start for Arsenal? Yeah, I can see you've got Egan and Vinagre on the bench, but...
Yeah, I've got a fairly strong defence. Like you said, with Egan, that's a quite expensive player to have on the bench, but I want that strength in depth. That's mainly for in week 2 onwards, I'll probably bench Souček and play a 4-3-3. His fixtures don't look very good, and I'm not sure what's going on at West Ham at the minute. There's rumours of turmoil. And in terms of Saliba, yes, I saw some news about David Luiz potentially having a fairly serious injury. So yeah, it's one to monitor. If it looks like David Luiz is going to be fit quite soon, I might switch him out. But as it stands, yeah, I like him as a 4.5 pick.
Cool. And in midfield, you've got some quite template picks there of Ali and Cleach. What are your thoughts there?
Yes. So with Ali, he's coming at 8 million. I think that's a good price. I think and hope he'll be playing further the field, close up to Harry Kane. And if he can, recapture his form of when Mourinho first came in, when Mourinho got back to getting the best out of him in that sort of more central forward position, then he could be a steal at 8 million. And the fixtures are quite kind to Tottenham at the start as well. And then, with Cleach, I believe he is the penalty taker for Leeds. I'm not 100% sure. So, if anyone's listening or watching and they want to let us know in the comments, that would be quite handy actually. But yeah, I believe he's on on penalties, and in that range of 5.5 million. I don't know how you found the midfielders, but there's not a great deal of choice there. So I'm taking a bit of a gamble on a newly promoted player there, something that I don't often do, but it's just for his price tag and the penalty appeal for me.
Obviously, the budget you save there helps you get in the big guns of Salah, Aubameyang, Ings, and Werner. I noticed you've captained Salah over Aubameyang. So obviously, this is a big debate in in FPL. Was it in FanTeam as well? What's your thinking of Salah over?
Yeah, again in FPL and FanTeam, I'm basically flicking between those two all the time for my captain and vice captain. Obviously, in FanTeam, Aubameyang's a striker and Salah's a midfielder. It's tough. It might change before the deadline. Obviously, we'll all be tinkering, won't we? Both our fan teams and our FPL teams up until the deadline. But at the minute, it's on Salah for that extra point for clean sheet and extra point for a goal for a midfielder. But will I be right? It's very hard to know, isn't it?
So you fancy Danny Ings to carry on his form from last season? You don't fancy Adams at 3 million less?
No. Back to Ings in terms of do I fancy him? Yes, I do. In terms of will he kick on? I believe he will. There's been various quotes about his injury problems are behind him, which was held him back for a good couple of years. So yeah, he's back to playing like 90 minutes. Even when the fixtures were quite piled up, he was playing 80, 90 minutes every game, scoring lots of goals, obviously. Yeah, just looks like the main man for them. Adams, obviously that money saving could be really good, but just because in my mind he was so bad, such a bad FPL and FanTeam asset for, the large majority of last season, I'm still a bit wary. And, if someone like Obafemi or Shane Long hits some form, then Ings isn't going to miss out. It'll be Adams. So that's my thinking there. And then, Werner, again, his stats from the Bundesliga, and he just looks really promising. And Chelsea's attack is going to be frightening this year, I think. So I think he's going to be a really good pick.
Were there any players who kind of, you've still got in mind and might make it into your final team who you're tossing up with?
At the minute, as it stands, I'm pretty set, but people like Jimenez are still in my mind. Yeah. But I like my three strikers, so I can't see me being able to squeeze him in.
Yeah.
And apart from that, maybe I don't think so. No, maybe I did also like Bellerin at Arsenal, but it was just the worry of Cedric Suarez taking his game time that's made me go for Saliba at the start. But I do prefer to have a right or left back in the team because just their attacking potential during open play with the likes of Doherty and Trent Alexander-Arnold, we know how attacking they can be. And obviously there's many others as well, so people like Luca Dean at Everton. So I do usually prefer a right or left back over a centre back. But yeah, we'll see how that one develops. If say Cedric picks up a random injury in the next few days, which I guess is unlikely, but it could happen, then I'll look for changing him to Bellerin.
And I see you haven't got any Manchester United or Man City players in your team or on your bench. Do you have a plan to get any in for game week 2?
Not a strict plan, a flexible plan from week 3 onwards of coming back, reassessing, seeing who the weak links are, seeing how I can get those players in. And like you alluded to earlier, Greenwood, obviously him and Foden have got into trouble recently, so depends how that story develops and if they're going to be available for week 2. So yeah, I think hopefully the initial plan is save a transfer and then in week 3 use 2 free transfers and potentially -4 to bring in some of those big guns.
And finally then, I suppose in terms of your wild card, so I can see you said your plan to remain reasonably flexible and stuff. Is your plan to still try and leave your wild card as long as possible, or?
Yeah, I'm not going to leave it for the sake of it. If my team, if I need it, then I'll happily pull the trigger as early as week 3, 4. That's fine. But I don't want to commit to a plan where I'm forced into using it that early. So yeah, I'd rather stay flexible and have it there as more of a backup option.
Okay, thanks for sharing that, Wes. For anyone, as I say, who doesn't know Wes has had 6 top 35k finishes on the bounce in FPL, so he's worth listening to. His advice is worth its weight in gold. Talking of Wes's advice, I'm going completely against it in terms of my team. So just to run through my team for our podcast listeners. So I've got McCarthy in goals at the moment. I've got Meslier, on the bench. I've then got Alexander-Arnold, Doherty and Tierney in my starting 11 at the back, with Johnson and Vinagre, the cheap 4 million options on the bench at the moment. Obviously, in terms of Vinagre, it all depends on whether he stays or not. My midfield at the moment, I've currently got Son, Saka from Arsenal, Soucek and Havertz, which I'll touch on now. And I've got Bissouma as my cheap fifth midfielder. And then up front, I have got Calvert-Lewin, Aubameyang and Werner. So the big miss there for those who've spotted it, as I don't have Salah. Well, I'll touch on that now. But I am setting this team up with a view to wildcarding after game week 2. And my kind of thoughts on this now. So in the last one, I talked about wildcard after game week 1. My thoughts have changed a little bit. The news around Foden and Greenwood. So I would probably have looked to wildcard those guys in game week 2 as an example. With Aubameyang, so what I didn't want to do was have Aubameyang captain just to say in game week 1, and then he does really, really well, and then I go into game week 2 and he's home to West Ham, and West Ham, as you've already mentioned, we're in a bit of a state at the moment. I didn't want to have to then take Aubameyang out to spread my funds and then miss out on another haul there. And that's the reason why I'm not going with Salah, is this early wildcard in game week 2. So I'm not going to captain Salah in game week 1. I go in for Aubameyang because I do think that Leeds are quite defensively sound. I think that while Liverpool will win, I don't think they'll score 3 or 4. Whereas Arsenal, the way they play in the form Aubameyang's in, I do think they have a better chance of scoring a couple of goals there. And I'm not going to captain Salah in game week 2. So my kind of thoughts are, by not doing that, it kind of allows me a few luxury upgrades in terms of getting in players like Son, like Havertz, who I think are very potential explosive options. That's the kind of thinking behind Salah there. And then I've gone for Saka. He's a bit more expensive in FanTeam than he is in FPL, but I think it's his place to lose at Arsenal at the moment. They have got Fulham and West Ham, which are 2 really nice fixtures. And I think, he might be kind of a bit of a low-owned shot there. I do like Nketiah as well, but I do think the Calvert-Lewin for Everton. I do think Everton are going to do well, and whilst I don't really fancy their fixture much against Spurs in game week 1, they're home to West Brom in game week 2. So I do think that he's got a chance of a few points. He should, Spurs are not that good at the back, and Doherty is hardly going to kind of shore up the defence, right? He's in for attacking returns. So I think that the Calvert-Lewin has got a chance of getting a goal maybe in the first week, but then home to West Brom the second week. I think Everton have clicked into gear. They've signed some really good players in Decore, Allen and Rodriguez. They've also got a Carabao Cup match in midweek, so they'll it gives them another game to settle down further. And I think that he'll do well again for reasonably kind of low price. Don't think that Werner needs much introduction. I think he's probably been underpriced across all the games.
Yeah,
and the probably last one to mention there is Tierney at left back. So I think he's cheap in FanTeam at 5 million. Arsenal have got the 2 good games to start, and he's very attacking. I think he scored in the final game week of the season as well. So he has got those.
He's got a big haul.
Yeah, those attacking instincts as well. So that's currently what I'm on. Could change, right? Depending if we get news between now and the deadline on Saturday, which is 11 o'clock for anyone who doesn't know. So it's the same deadline now as FPL. That's really important. You don't want to be kind of messing around and making changes to your FanTeam team after 11 o'clock because they won't count. So yeah, that's kind of where I am at the moment. Wes, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I really like it. I like the fact that you've gone Salah-less. If I was committing to that game week 3 wildcard like you are, then I'd do the same as well, because like you said, you can happily captain Aubameyang in both. And yeah, Saka, he's been a player that I've tinkered in and out at various times. I've only taken him out just for other reasons, not because I don't like the player. I think, like you say, it's his place to lose, and he's a very good option at that price. You've gone for the double up in the Chelsea attack, which could pay dividends. It's a little bit risky, but I guess you're wildcarding after week 3, aren't you? So this is the time to take risks, as you're only doing it over 2 game weeks. And yeah, I really like the Tierney pick as well. There's a really strong defence. You've got 3 attacking fullbacks in decent teams that should be able to could get you attacking and defensive returns. So yeah, really strong overall. The Calvert-Lewin pick for me, he's a player who's frustrated me in the past.
Yeah, and me.
So But it's not to say he's not bad. He's
Sure.
had periods of being really on form and scoring well. I just don't tend to catch him when he does well. So he's on my naughty list at the minute. So I'm personally avoiding him, but that's not to say that he won't go ahead and smash it.
So I was tempted with Nketiah,
Yeah,
but I'm not sure. If I went for Nketiah, I'd probably take out Saka and go for someone else. I'd save a bit of
you'd
money.
have triple. You'd have 4 Arsenal then, so
I'd have for Arsenal anyway, but
you'd have to lose one of them.
yeah,
So yeah,
and I wouldn't want a triple Arsenal tech anyway. Even though I think they're going to do well, I do think Nketiah and Saka may potentially share minutes, and I don't want my striker to be on the bench. But if we get word that Nketiah is going to start to, let's just say that Lacazette looks like he's going to leave, then I think Nketiah could be a very, very under the radar pick, because he's going to play the number 9 for Arsenal in 2 plum fixtures with players like Willian and Aubameyang feeding in the ball. So I think he could be a really, really nice low-owned pick there, cheap one as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chance to boot up the ranks. I did explain the kind of early wildcard thoughts and strategy in the previous podcast. So if anyone is interested in going back over that, it is on this channel on YouTube and also on the audio versions. Just some things around getting on the right 4 million options, building team value, trying to get a quick start, whilst then landing on my core team of players that I really want from game week 3 onwards, which would probably include the likes of Bruno, Martial, maybe Greenwood, Foden, De Bruyne. I think a lot of people are going to find it very hard to get to that point, and if and haven't even mentioned Werner, Havertz, Pulisic, Ziyech even, there's a lot of options who could kick on really quickly, and I think the price rises may be quite substantial early doors. So they're the primary reasons why I'm thinking wildcards early, but it's great for our listeners now because they've got the contrasting views of, a team, really, really strong team and strategy in yours for non-early wildcarders, and then a kind of team and strategy for pro early wildcarders. So
I like how you switched the week by 1 extra week, because it also allows you to see the Man United players and the Man City players in week 2. So, right. De Bruyne might randomly just say he might have a new role where he's a bit deeper this year. And then you notice that in that game, and then you can think, okay, maybe Sterling's the better pick or something like that. Or you could see Foden start on absolute fire and play really high up. Or likewise for someone like Greenwood could start playing number 9 through the middle.
Exactly.
So yeah, you'd be kind of, and also gives you 2 weeks of data for all the other players in the game as well. It's 2 weeks to see how Chelsea players settling. It's 2 weeks to see how everyone else settles in. So yeah, I think if I do change my mind and go for the early wild card, it wouldn't be as early as week 2. I'd hold my nerve definitely at least another week, and then at week 3, if I realise actually I need to make a good 8-9 changes, that's when I'll go for it and join you.
Excellent. Okay, so that is it from us for this episode. Hopefully it's whetted your appetite enough to give FanTeam a go. Remember, it is capped at 75,000 entries, so to start drafting your team, make sure you click in the link at the top of the description now. Thank you so much, Wes, for joining me once again and sharing your final draft. Where can people get hold of you?
So yeah, I'm on Twitter at FPL_Heisenberg, and the same on Instagram as well, but mainly on Twitter.
Superb, thank you, mate. Very best of luck for the coming season in FanTeam 8. If you win, you can buy me a pint or a car. If you win, I'll leave you to choose that. Twitter handle is at Fergie222. If you like what you watched, please press the like button and remember to subscribe to the channel in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. And if you're listening on a podcast, please rate the podcast and leave a comment. So FanTeam Football Hub have partnered up with FanTeam and will be providing regular content during the season to help you to try to get your hands on the new, improved and life-changing €200,000 first prize that is in place for the new season. Remember to follow our main FPL account on Twitter at FFH_HQ, and also our new dedicated FanTeam Twitter account at FFH_FanTeam. We'll be posting our dedicated FanTeam content, including our podcasts, articles and team reveals. We hold regular competitions on these accounts with prizes such as free Hub memberships and free FanTeam entries, so make sure you follow and join in with these. For those new to our channel, FanTeam Football Hub host a weekly FPL podcast with 2 of the best managers of all time, while a third also exclusively reveals his FPL team for the coming game week through his brilliant videos. We're also on Instagram and TikTok at FFH_HQ. Our website is fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where you will find masses of free pre-season content and everything you need for fantasy football all under one roof, including player comparison tools, the fixture ticker, Opta Stats, top player team reveals, a groundbreaking points prediction tool, and much, much more, all of which are on our new free app, which you will find wherever you get your apps for searching for Fantasy Football Hub. We are currently running a 25% preseason discount for new memberships, which expires on Friday. So if you want to take advantage of this, click on the link in the description. On the website and app, you can find an Introduction to FanTeam article series talking you through the game with our hints and tips on starting off in this brilliant format. All the links for everything we have discussed are in the description below. If you play FPL, make sure to subscribe to our main FPL channel, which is also in the description below. So best of luck, Wes, for the new season. Very excited, just around the corner now. We will be back very soon to check in on our progress. Until then, thank you and goodbye.
Cheers, guys.